So this is Joey.
Hello.
Joey's back. We are officially live. Welcome to Scareactor Stories. If you have never been here before, hi, I'm Noelle, also known as Charge and Die. I'm a professional scare actor. I started telling Scareactor stories on TikTok, and that's how I got my main following. Now I am asking some fellow Scareactor friends of mine to share their stories on Twitch so that everyone gets a chance to ask their questions and just hear some fun stories. So, Joey, would you like to introduce yourself again for people?
Yeah, I'm Joey Baratta. I was a scare actor in the year of 2019. It was my first year as a scare actor, and unfortunately, because of the mess, it's also been my only year as a scare actor so far. I was in the Stranger Things haunt at Universal Studios Hollywood. I was Bob Newby getting eaten by demi-dogs.
Yeah, let's talk
And
about that a little more later, but please continue because I'm definitely going to ask questions.
that was pretty much my intro.
Oh,
So,
okay, great. I
please.
felt bad for interrupting.
No, your timing was like perfect.
Sweet. All right, so let's get started. If anyone in the chat has any questions for me or Joey about scare acting, or just in general, if you want to get to know Joey better or whatever, feel free to chat. This is your time. Ask your questions. Ask for advice. And if no one says anything, we're just gonna talk about scaring because that's what scare actors love to do. And we weirdly enough don't get to do that unless we're talking to a fellow scare actor because people just don't get it, right? And they
Right.
look at us like we're psychotic or something. Have you ever talked to someone who is not a scare actor about scaring and have the reaction of like, mm-hmm, yeah, you scare for a living? Nice.
I've gotten a reaction of like, wow, that's really cool, and I encourage them to like try it, and they're just like, I don't think so, and it's just like, oh, you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun than you think. We're not that weird, but we are, but we aren't. Like, it's great. It's fun.
Not weird at all.
Yeah,
I still
it's
scare.
it's one of those things people don't think about. Like, they'll go to a haunt, they know, or if they don't, they know they exist at the very least, right? And so they know people are there to pop out and scare you, but what they don't think is, yeah, those are people with jobs. They're there to scare you. They're not just like an object, but that's how people see us a lot of the time, unfortunately.
I, I I'll never forget this one time. I was working Halloween Horror Nights, not as a scare actor, but as somebody just like, retail and like trying to get people to play carnival games.
Nice.
They had come out of this haunt, and I heard out loud, I couldn't believe this. The woman just said, I did not come to Halloween Horror Nights to get scared. And then I'm thinking in the back of my head, what are you doing here?
That never makes
Uh-oh.
sense to me.
I lost sound for a moment there.
Are you good now?
Oh, I got you good.
Cool. Also, I don't know if people noticed, and I don't know if people would notice, but I got a new webcam. Yay! You can see me a little
Nice.
better. And I also changed up my setup so you could see the rest of the room behind me. I just moved. But I used to have this setup like right here on my desk, but I had to switch for work. So that
Oh,
my work used to see this. And I was in a very important meeting, and Glenn came in, bless his heart, to give me a grilled cheese because I skipped my lunch break in order to attend the meeting. And he was like doing this army crawl to try and not be noticed, but they still see the door open behind me and everything. And it was funny because now they've talked about it to me. They're like, you're really lucky to have a guy nice enough to do that for you. I'm like, thanks, but also that was really embarrassing. Like, I'm gonna switch my setup. So now when I stream, people could see the room behind me, which is fine. It's the media room, whatever. But with
Right.
work right here, all they see is a closet door. So we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could have sworn and seen like you had like a curtain thing set up last time.
That was in the Anaheim place. So we moved from Anaheim to Brea.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
so I originally, oh no, when I interviewed you, I believe I was still in Studio City and I still had that same little setup there. So that's interesting.
Okay.
I've moved, this is the third move within a few months, just so you know. But this one's going to be more permanent, I promise everyone, don't worry. I'm not going to keep saying like, oh, due to the move, I can't do content. Blah.
I wish I could move. It's
Oh,
Hard to live in your parents' house. Anyway.
it's fine. So Doc asks, do you play video games? If so, what's your favorite game to play? Well, you said Mortal Kombat, right?
Mortal Kombat is my favorite video game, probably of all time. It's either that or Super Mario from Super Nintendo, but just because Mortal Kombat keeps advancing, I love playing Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I got Mortal Kombat 11 for Christmas. Not this past year, but the one before. And I played it with my boyfriend a couple times. And it's so grotesque. I love it.
It is.
It's so gross, but in a good way for me. I don't typically like gore, but it's just so badass. But yeah, Mortal Kombat. I hope that answers your question, Doc. If anyone else has any scare acting questions about anything at all, feel free to ask it. We'll get to questions, but right now I want to talk about you as Bob. That's his name, right?
Yep, Bob Newby.
Bob Newby from Stranger Things. So for those who joined in a little later, this is Joey. He was in the Stranger Things maze in 2019 Halloween Horror Nights, and he played Bob with the demi-dogs coming at him. But you also controlled the demi-dogs. Do you want to talk about that a little bit more so people understand the setup?
Right. I know that in the TV show, one of the demi-dogs is on top of Bob, and they're like they're stabbing him with their claws and they're eating him. But we had it set up so when you walk by this way, I'm laying down like back here, and I've got two demi-dogs, one on my left, one on my right. Now the one on the left, people didn't see this, but there was like a little lever there that I got to control on my own. And the one on the right was like, it actually looked like a demi-dog with no controls whatsoever. So I had to move that one with my hand, no lever attached, and like I'm moving the whole thing. So I'm like moving them around. I'm pretending like I'm getting eaten, and it's a very exhausting role, as I came to discover. And that was basically my thing. Like at first, it was just to be there, just to like show fans, no, they're eating Bob. But as the weeks progressed, I found, wait a minute, I don't just have to be here just to like show Bob getting eaten. I can actually scare some of these people. And I took some advantages. Like sometimes I'll like be dead Bob, like they're done eating him and everything, and then I'll just jump out and scare. But other times I'd just be like moving while I'm getting eaten, because there were other like demi-dogs that like would jump out and scare people.
Well, the
oh no,
cool
I lost
thing.
sound again.
Oh no.
I got you back.
Oh good. I was like, I don't know what to do on my end. Well, if anyone saw Stranger Things, this is the second season, right? With
yes,
Bob.
This was the haunt from 2019 was for Stranger Things season 2.
Yeah, to kind of promote season 3 coming out, right?
That's actually how it ended. We the haunt for Stranger Things 2 ended with a little teaser of what happened in Stranger Things 3 season 3.
Okay.
And that was really cool.
Oh, that's smart too, to give a little teaser for season 3, because if people saw season 2 and then they get all the way through the maze, then they're like, wait, I don't remember this in season 2. Oh, it must be in season 3 now, I need to watch it. So clever. But if you saw season 2 Stranger Things, you can't help but fall in love with Bob. He is just such a nice guy, and so sorry if this is spoilers for anybody, because we do have to talk about, Bob and the demi-dogs. So
Right.
if you don't know what we're talking about, but you want to watch this season and you don't want a lot of spoilers, maybe just like plug your ears for a little bit. I don't know, but
Put it on mute.
I'll just say big spoiler alert, which we've already kind of addressed, so it's a little late for a spoiler alert. But if you're just joining, spoiler alert for season 2 Stranger Things. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bob and the demi-dogs. Okay. You can't help but fall in love with Bob. He is just such a nice guy. And you wish him the best, and then you get your heart broken when he dies, and so you bring that pain back to people. If they had seen that, if they had seen season 2 and they fell in love with Bob, because how could you not? And then they go through the maze, and then they see you getting attacked by the demi-dogs as Bob. that alone will be the scare, because it's just like, oh, the trauma of seeing it the first time on TV. But also, if they hadn't seen the season, it's still effective because it's like, oh, this dude is getting eaten by these monsters. So it's kind of a double whammy in a sense, and I appreciate that. And oh my god, the workout. Did you feel like you got a good workout from that?
I could not have asked for a better workout for 3 months doing that, because I mean, I remember when we first did Stranger Things as a rehearsal and we had some people walk through. My neck and shoulders were so sore the next day. I woke up out of my bed going, ow, 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 because
you poor thing.
when you constantly do the sit-ups and you have to lift your head up,
and
like
your
this.
head is heavy, like your neck can't support it like that for that long, so kudos. No.
So the very first night of rehearsal, we didn't have anything to support our necks, our shoulder, and I wasn't the only Bob Newby. We had two other people play. We had at least 2 or 3 other people play Bob Newby, and the 2 I got to know, very good people, Evan and Alex. They're awesome as Bob, but afterwards, we were just in so much pain. We said we cannot do Bob Newby being eaten like this. So either change our position or we're going to have to get something. So thankfully the production gave us a little support and headrest for our necks and our backs and our shoulders. So the next time we did it, it didn't hurt as much.
That's good. I'm glad you guys spoke up about it. Did everyone survive okay? Did anyone quit?
Alex had to quit because he was part of another scare actor. It wasn't because of the physical work.
Okay.
Yeah. But as far as the other physical activity went with Bob, I lost 12 pounds doing sit-ups 45 minutes, 5 to 6 times a night.
Oh my god.
I got it all back after the holidays, though.
Oh, but still, that's something to be proud of, because when I was the wolf in 2018, I keep saying this, my glutes were amazing after walking like a wolf all that time and moving around in the scare zone and everything. You can't help but get in shape, and you work muscles you never normally work. It's very interesting. Maroon Wolf goes, my mom is listening in the car and my mom said she didn't like Bob. What? How could you not? We have Bob right here. Shh, it's so insulting.
I think because a lot of people, I heard a lot from my cast members. Season 2 was okay. I actually really like season 2. I don't dislike anything of Stranger Things now. Spoiler alert, I didn't watch Stranger Things till last year. When I joined HHN, it was just something to do. It was something I wanted to do, and I had this mindset, don't watch the show to make and it's like, you're just a scare actor. But when I watched it, I was like, how did I miss out on that? And watching Bob, it was just like, God bless you, Sean Astin.
Doc says, and Joey makes a good look-alike. Yeah, Universal does great casting, and of course, they wouldn't have cast him if he didn't look enough like Bob. Because, the guests, when they walk by, it's not like you're really far back or on a stage or something. You are there on the ground. They can get close to you if they wanted to. So it's great that you look so much like Bob, because it's not just a passing glance. They would see you. And that's what the casting directors have to really think about when they're casting.
When I heard I got casted for Bob, the only thing that bothered me was I had to get rid of this, because I'd grown so attached to this, and I was just like, you know what? Just get rid of it. I was like, hello, Chin. And
what?
It worked.
It's so smooth now.
It was.
It was. Not anymore, but it was. Yeah, that's the tough thing, too, with if you are a face character and you have to look a certain way. That's typically only for theme parks if they have a certain look that they're going for, especially Universal, because they pride themselves on making it look like the movies.
Yeah.
So they take that very seriously. So if you are a male or someone who can grow facial hair and your character does not have facial hair or looks a certain way, that's something that they'll ask you, like, are you okay doing this? Are you okay shaving that off? Some people say no, because it's like some people might be modeling or acting, and it's like, this is my moneymaker right now, and this is just like scare acting is just a side gig, so no, I'm not okay with doing that. They could either find a place for you somewhere else where you're like wearing a mask or something and it covers the hair, or they say, okay, deuces, thanks for auditioning and wasting your time.
Yeah, and I didn't want to take a chance of them saying thanks for everything, but we won't cast you anymore because it was my first time. So I just said, okay, bye-bye, and I'll get you back when November comes.
Yeah, so I'd say don't even bother auditioning for a big place like that unless you are okay shaving your facial hair, or if you have piercings, getting rid of them briefly for the run. Or if you have a tattoo, like cover, I don't know, like if you have a face tattoo or something, cover it with some makeup. I don't know if that will work, but don't lessen your chance of not getting the job because you're like too attached to it. But if you are really attached to it, that's okay too. Just know that they might ask you to do that. If you're not okay doing it, maybe don't bother.
Right.
Rev and K says, I remember wringing my mask out, so much sweat, OMG.
Oh my god.
Oh, honey. Oh, honey, I know. I know. I said this several times before, but for those who didn't hear this yet, it's so gross. But if you ever saw me as the wolf, I had the gloves, right? And I had a mask. I had the torso, whatever. I was furry. I was hairy, and I had the dress, right? Plastic. They were like plastic gloves, so they were very hard to move. I could not move them at all. If I got really sweaty, they would, like, the sweat would pool in the gloves in the fingertips. So if you ever saw me like roar to the sky like this, really epically, that was my way of getting the sweat to like drip down a little more and get it out of the glove. But in character.
Yeah, the sweat was, man, because I was in the Bob Newby costume for his scene, but underneath they had me wear like this Under Armour style shirt, and then they had me wear this long underwear so that my body sweat wouldn't touch the costume, which would make it easier for them to wash them. And I remember like adding the blood effect, like when they sprayed the blood on me, and then I went from the makeup station down to the set. Sometimes I would sweat before it would even start, and I was just like, "Oh my lord, this is going to kill me! Get me water, 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 water."
Water is so good. I would always bring my own powdered Gatorade as like an extra electrolyte boost, because after a while, just water is not going to do the trick. You're guzzling so much, but you need something with a little more kick to it. So I would always bring my own powdered Gatorade just in case. I'd
be a little cautious with the Gatorade for me because like, I got a sensitive stomach sometimes, so adding heat and then adding the electrolytes and the sugar, I would be worried that like sometimes I'd be on the set and then I'm like, I gotta go, bathroom time. So that was why I always stuck with water.
Yeah, to each their own. I would have to use the restroom like every break I had, but it helped. It helped to keep me alive. So there we go. Let's see. What was this? I'm missing some comments. Maroon Wolf, OMG, LOL, she just shrugged. Once again, I'll say to each their own. It's okay. You cannot.
No.
You can like Bob. You cannot like Bob. It's up to you. But I like Bob. So there we go.
I now adore his character.
Yeah.
He is so cool. And I say, hey, it's Samwise Gamgee, who's Bob Newby. It's so cool.
Revan K, I had to open a door for my scare and I wore a hole in my glove almost every night. Oh my god, what did costumes think of you? Just like, I ripped another hole in my glove. Sorry, guys. Every night with you. Every night.
Well, That's funny because I had something similar. Because I'm getting eaten, I had to move my legs and my gut around, and I burned and ripped through two pairs of shoes that the costume people gave me,
Ooh.
and they were like, "Why are your shoes coming out all like beat up and burnt and like not really like burnt like actual on fire, but like they
Like
were
so
beaten."
scruffed and yeah.
Oh yeah. And they're like,
It's not
why are you
scruffed.
doing it like this? It's like, well, because I'm moving around a lot and I have to like, rub the carpet. And they go, okay, don't rub it so hard. And it was just like, okay, so I got to tone that down.
Yeah.
What do I do? So
It's,
I started moving my knees as opposed to my feet. I don't know if that made sense to people, but like I would just like plant my feet and move them left and right, and my knees would move around a little bit more.
yeah, so it gives the illusion of you like struggling without the carpet burn on the shoes so much. That's the thing that about scare acting that a lot of people don't realize too is we're not just working on a great scare. We have a lot of things to worry about, like costume, props, sets. Like we have to be aware of our surroundings, not hitting any guests or other scare actors, while also performing the best we can. So it's like a lot of factors. And also our body. Like if you have a kink in your shoulder for that night, you're going to have to find ways around it. So it's finding ways around a scare while still giving a good scare. It's so hard to do sometimes, depending on where you are.
It's a very physical role, which I like. And I said to myself earlier today, it's kind of like being a stuntman because you're very physical
Mhm.
in everything you do. You have to mind your surrounding. You have to like get it at the right spot. And if you don't, something could go wrong. So you have to be aware of everything around you and make sure that not only are you safe, but the people around you are safe.
Absolutely, that's a good point. Like we do have a lot of stunt people working at HHN, and they make great scare actors because they are very in tune with their own body and they know how to safely do certain stunts already. And as a scare actor, you might not have to do a stunt, but it's always good. I would recommend people to take just one stage combat class or like some sort of stunt class if you can, if you're able to.
Oh yeah.
And learn, because one of the biggest things that I learned through stage combat stuff, victim is always in charge. You look like you're not in charge, but you are actually in charge of it because you don't want to get hurt. So you're guiding the person. And when I was on Grindstone in 2017, a lot of Jasons who were filling in as pool people, I don't think they knew that, even though I told them that. I don't think they really knew that. So they were actually pushing my head into the grindstone. And I had to fight back. And because I had to fight back, that put a kink in my neck. So I had to explain to them, no. You just place your hand on me. I'm the one who's going to look like I'm being pushed in and all that stuff, but you're not doing anything. You just gotta look like it and just like pretend that the grindstone's really heavy and slowly turn it. That's all you have to do. But do not push on my head. If you do, we're both going down because I will take you down with me. Like, don't do that.
Yes.
Let's see. Revan K, putting a cold, wet mask back on after a 30-minute break. Ew. I feel you. That's what ninja hoods are for. Absolutely. But they get so sweaty, so you have to like wring it out, of course.
Yeah. I had a lot of friends who had to wear those hazmat suits because of the Stranger Things setting. But for me, like, I'm just sweating on my own. And thankfully, after 45 minutes, it's like, oh, give me a towel. That feels good. But I feel so bad for everyone who had to wear a mask because I can imagine how much more heat they had to deal with.
And also, if you wear prosthetics or something and the sweat just like pools into the prosthetic somehow, it is the worst feeling. It's so gross. And you just like slowly feel the prosthetic pulling away from your skin. You're like, uh-oh, there's nothing I can do about
And
this.
then you got to run back and like, apply it.
It's like, just so you know, when you use your solvent on this glue and pull this prosthetic off, you're gonna get a little bit of a waterfall. Okay, it's gross. It's gross in there. It doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's so gross. And I am so embarrassed. But they're really understanding. They're like, yeah, you're sweating a lot. We get it. Revan K, we worked on Titans of Terror together, and I still remember the stupid soundtrack that never stopped playing. Who are you? Who are you? In the maze or tram? Because there was 2 Titans of Terror for that year, at least 2017, because Titans of Terror was a pretty common maze throughout the years, right? A burger from Take 5. I always got the chicken strips.
I would stay away from, well, because my set was on the lower lot of Universal Studios. I couldn't go to Take 5. I
understand.
I had to eat before every show, and I would always be careful with what I ate. So
good.
I would usually just pick, like, I would usually just bring a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Good. Yeah. Bring your own food. Bring some nuts. Eat healthy. Do as I say, not as I do, because like literally every day before my shift I would have like chicken strips or a burger or something, and I felt gross after, but at least I wasn't hungry. But don't use that logic. Actually eat good stuff. Healthy stuff that keeps you full. Protein. Eat heavy protein stuff. Let's see, Rev. Oh, I was in the maze by Waterworld.
Oh God, what was that in 2019?
Was it 2019? Oh, 2019, that was the Waterworld one was House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh no. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was the Waterworld one. Yeah, and then 2018 it was the Halloween maze, and I know this because that's the maze that Glenn worked at while I was on the street on New York Street, so we worked very close to each other, but we didn't know we existed. And then we met online later, and then we talked about it, and I was like, you creep, you know where I worked? And he was like, I worked there too, I'm not a creep. And I was like, okay, all right.
It's like, fine, I'll let it slide.
All right, fine. And then here we are 2 years later, it's like, okay. So you were in the maze. I'm trying to remember because I went through that. Are we talking 2017? Rev and K in the chat. 2017. All right, cool. You might know my ex. He also worked that maze. He's dead to me. Let's move on. Doc says I'd rather eat a Krusty Burger. Like from Simpsons Land or like in theory from the show?
I think it might be both.
Porque no los dos. Yeah.
You want a Krusty Burger?
Dude, that was awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, Simpsons Land. Yeah. I would not recommend eating a burger before a shift, scare acting. I would use like granola bars or like eat a decent meal 30 minutes to an hour before your shift even starts, and then have trail mix, granola bar, pretzels. Those fruit gummies kept me going. Like Welch's fruit gummies were the real MVP.
I say stay away
Skittles from the
anything
vending machine.
grease.
See, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Skittles, exactly. Those are healthy.
I would have Ruffles cheddar chips sometimes before every shift.
The chips, brilliant. These are all healthy things, scare actors. I love this. Scare actors always say, you know, eat healthy, heavy protein. And then here we are going like, I ate fruit snacks. I ate Skittles. Like, I ate a burger. I had chicken strips. I had chips.
It's like we found a new workout routine and diet for people who like want to have a lot of fun. Be a scare actor. You'll sweat your butt off. You'll get a good workout, and you'll eat right.
No, you won't eat right, but it won't matter because you're working out that hard. That's what I do. I do not eat well, you guys. I actually hired a personal trainer, not to be like my trainer because, you know, the mess and everything. I'm not going to go to a gym, but I need someone to tell me what to eat because I do not eat healthy. I never have, and I want to, but I don't know how. So I actually hired someone to tell me what to eat and get me on a diet, and I meet with him on Monday for the first time. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to do better, but I feel like I never felt the need to do that before because the few months I'm working HHN, I'm working my butt off, so it kind of equals out throughout the year for weight. You know, like throughout most of the year, I'll be gaining weight, and then HHN, boom, and I'm back where I started, reset, just slowly gain weight. But I haven't had HHN, so I need to be better. Just eat less.
I need to be better too. I have struggled working out as of late for personal reasons, but I need to do better with that too.
Yeah, it's hard because like we're honestly so spoiled when we scare act because you're working muscle groups you never usually work, so it's like toning you up in ways you never expected, and then you're sweating profusely, but you don't really feel like you're working out because you're having so much fun doing it, and like you're working and getting paid for it too. Like we're so spoiled. It's such a cool job.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Oh God, you look great, Mama. Well, thank you, Doc. It's the webcam. It's a new webcam. It's not me. It's the webcam. I spent the last like 2 hours cleaning a bathroom because we're moving from the old Anaheim place and we need to clean it. So I was scrubbing a toilet right before this.
Oh,
no,
that's never fun.
It's fine. It needs to happen. I'm okay with it, but it's also partly joking because like I want to say the grossest thing while also like it's the webcam. I don't look good. I don't look this good usually.
I don't believe you.
Aw, thanks.
I say you look awesome.
Thank you. You're so nice. Revan K, get your limbs taped up first. Did you ever get taped up? You said that they gave you something for your shoulders, but you didn't get taped up.
No, I didn't get taped up. I didn't get like any ice packs or anything. It was just the one night of rehearsal being like before everyone came, and then they fixed up the scene with Bob.
Mm.
But afterwards, like I didn't really suffer any injuries from my shifts.
Good.
I would make sure that I would never put myself in a position where the guests can either hurt me or I hurt the guests. And believe me, when you're laying down on the ground and people think you're dead and your foot is right near the walking path where people are walking by, people just step on your foot just to see if you're there. They kick you to see if you're there. They like pull your shoe and you're like, hey! And I would make sure that I would do everything I can to get touched as little as I could or get hurt as little as I could.
Or you could use it to your advantage in a lot of ways because people are so predictable and not at the same time. But the predictable part of guess is like, if they can touch something, they will. If they could potentially break something, they will. It's a safe bet. So I would love to do this at some point, but I'm really scared to do so because I don't want to get hurt potentially. But if I'm working a place where I am allowed to speak and I pretend to be a dead body on the ground and someone kicks me to know if I'm alive or something, I would love to just jump up and be like, I'm sleeping here, move along, you know? Can I help you?
I actually did something similar to that. Like I was doing the thing where I'm lying dead, like Bob's already dead, the demi-dogs are done eating him. I had 3 people kick my leg and they were all right next to each other. And because where I am, it's really loud because of the noise background. I just sat up and went, knock off! And they were just like, ah!
Nice.
But they could barely hear me because like you hear in the background, Bob is like screaming and getting eaten, and Joyce is yelling, no! So I used the noise to my advantage.
I would scream at people because technically I'm not saying anything, but it still gets the same thing across. Like, if someone, like, poked me and I was playing a character where I could scream in their face, they would, like, poke me. I go, ah! In their face. They'd be like, ah! 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 And I just keep doing that until they, like, finally leave me alone or get bored or something. Sorry, I'm, like, literally screaming into the mic, everyone. But if we're talking scare acting, screaming's gonna happen. Revan K, I was originally cast as Leatherface, but then I think Murdy saw my skin color and they recast me as Jason. What?
What?
Oh my god. Yeah,
Wait.
you probably know my ex then because he was a Leatherface.
Oh no,
Oh, he
I
switched
don't really
around.
know too many Universal monsters other than like Frankenstein and the Wolfman and Dracula.
Yeah, well,
Right.
Titans of Terror in 2017 was Leatherface, Jason, and Freddy. So it was those
Right, it
three.
was Leatherface.
Yeah, and then for the tram at least it had Chucky controlling them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was so much fun because they had the Chucky dolls, like the chainsaw people, and every time a tram came up, they had all the chainsaw people dressed as the Chucky dolls, like walk up like dolls, and then stand in a line, wait for everyone to come up to them and get very confused, like, do we walk through them? What happens? And then at the same time, they all rev up the chainsaws and then they scatter.
That's always the best.
It was
That actually
so
happened.
cool.
Something similar like that happened to me once. I was lying down, and I'll never forget this. This is like the highlight of my scare, of all my scares I did at HHN. I'm lying down, and like at the corner of my eye, I see all these ladies just like leaning forward, going, "Is he a puppet or is he like a person? I can't tell." They get closer, and then like you hear the Bob scream in the back. So I just like go, ah, and I'll never forget. One of them fell down in fear. They got so scared they like um they fell back and like fell on the ground. They got up, they were fine. They didn't like injure themselves. But it was I saw it. I saw what happened. It was so funny. Like when the next people came, I had to like cover my face because I was laughing so hard.
Oh yeah. Oh, those moments where people break us. Oh, that's funny. There were so many times where I laughed so hard in my mask, but I knew no one could hear me or see me because, that wolf head covers all. But I was laughing so hard at certain things. Like if I made someone bio themselves, if you know what I mean, in any way, like number 1 or 2. Oh yeah, that got me usually. Someone fell down and then started laughing, which made me laugh. It's the best. I don't like it when people get hurt. Let me make myself clear.
That's never good.
It's never good when someone gets hurt, but that rarely happens, at least from the scares that I've done.
What was tough was because you said it yourself, you wear a mask for your character. My character's no mask.
Yeah, you're a face character. You are
so, like,
broken.
I was like, oh my god, if they see me smiling, they're not gonna buy this. I have got to cover it up. And like as I'm covering my mouth saying, get over it. Okay, you'll just enjoy it when you get in the back. And like I would sometimes glance over at like my watch that was hiding behind the demi-dog, and I'd be like, okay, how long do I gotta last? Okay, just hold it together for that long. And then when no one came, I was just like, oh thank God. Oh, here they come again.
It's just back in character real quick. And to revisit what we were saying before of like how scare actors, like what people don't normally think about scare acting is like we have a lot of things to work around for our scares. One of those things that I can add to that list from before is when people break us and we start laughing or something. Like how do we hide this? How do we hide this? How do we do this in character? Like that's another thing we got to work around. We have to have that in our back pocket. If you're wearing a mask and it's really loud, so lucky, so easy. I could laugh my A off so much and no one will know or care because no one can see my face. I'm wearing a big effing mask. But if you're a face character like Joey was, you really got to give some thought to like if there's a really funny reaction or someone just says something, makes a noise, whatever, and it makes me laugh and I break character. How can I hide the fact that I just broke character from them? Or how do I react laughing, but in character with whatever's happening in the scene right now? Because with Bob being eaten by demi-dogs, I don't think there's a moment where he could burst out laughing. You know what I mean? That would be really... You're tickling me. Stop it. Like, you're not gonna laugh in those situations. So you got to find a way to cover your face, like, the pain, and then just go...
Yeah, and what was really tough about it was because I'm working 2 demi-dogs, one on my left, one on my right, I couldn't just do it like this.
Right, because you also had puppets. Oh, man, that's so difficult.
Oh, man, it sounds
like
tough.
you had one of the toughest positions, honestly, that year.
Well, yeah, but thankfully I got to move my head around like this
Yeah.
and like I would like sometimes do certain movements where they couldn't see some of my face sometimes, but because people love to like, explore and lean over, it became a challenge to make sure that if I was cracking under pressure, they didn't see it.
Good. Yeah, but that's another thing people should think about before you're like, how do you stay in character when you want to break character real bad? It also works in a sad way. It also works if you get hurt or if someone hurts your feelings and you start to cry on set. How are you gonna hide that too? How are you gonna brave it out until you have your break and then you can just sob during your break? And scarectors will be there for you. They're like, oh my god, are you okay? Are you hurt? Whatever. But otherwise, we get it. We get it. Yeah, it's a lot. Let's see, Doc. Maybe he's laughing at the funny moments in his memories.
Yep.
It's like, oh no, it's like, oh my god, my life is flashing before my eyes. That was really funny. Oh god, like I don't think that would work. Let's see. Hydrate and stretch, please, since they're broken. Oh, the redeeming is broken? That's weird. I didn't mess with that. So in Twitch, they could redeem loyalty points. For my channel, they're called howls because, werewolf theme. But if you like watch a certain length of time, like every 5 minutes, you get a certain number of points or something like that. If you follow, subscribe, gift subs, whatever, you get certain channel loyalty points, and then you could redeem those for certain things. Some of the things that they like to redeem, Maroon Wolf just did that, is hydrate. So whenever they redeem a hydrate for 300 howls, I have to take a sip of water. And then another one that is stretch for 500. So stretch, and then I gotta stretch. Yeah. Yeah, because when I stream for like 3 hours at a time whenever I go live. So typically, give or take. So they like to have their little self-care moments for me, which is really sweet of them, where they're like, it's been a while. Drink some water and stretch. And I'm like, thank God. Oh my God. I lost track of time. Like, just some jumping jacks, something. Self-care moment from Doc. Thanks, Doc. Thanks, Maroon Wolf, for working with Doc.
We actually had a God, I don't know what the right title was, but there was this woman who worked with us at HHN. Her name was Christy, and she would take it upon herself to make sure that we were all physically ready to get to be on set. Aww. So she would organize the workouts, like simple stretches and stuff like that. Nothing like, put your leg over your head and turn into a pretzel. Nothing like that. But
you can't do that? Oh, come on. I am so not flexible at all.
Oh, man. I don't think I ever was.
Oh, but I get that question a lot, actually. So let me address it in this stream. A lot of people ask, like, do you have to be really flexible? Do you have to be really fit to be a scare actor? No, not at all. I am not flexible in the slightest, but I still make it work. It's like, and I know a lot of people who refuse to work out. Like, it's their thing. It's like, I'm just not going to work out. So they're not, like, fit, but they're fit enough. As long as you have the stamina to endure a full set and, like, a full shift and everything and work, like, 5 days a week doing this stuff, that's all they care about. You don't have to be the fittest person. We have a lot of like big guys and girls there who scare some of the best scares that I've seen, actually.
I think flexibility is it's good to have, but it's not a necessity to have as a scare.
That's a good way to put it. It's like, if you are super fit, great. If you are super flexible, great. Work it into your character. But if you're not, don't count that against you, because you could still make it work. I don't want people to say like, oh, I can't be a scare actor because I'm not flexible. I'm not flexible. Wish I were. Something I need to work on for sure, but it's not an all or none kind of thing. So just, I wanted to address that real quick for anyone who cares. I don't know if anyone watching this cares about that, but yeah, that was a common question I would get. To Grimskull, scare aggressively safe. Aggressively safe. Yeah, that's been a new term. It's been a new term since you and I last interviewed, where I met, like, we talked about it in one interview, and it's just been there ever since. Scare aggressively safe. Be super safe about it, but gosh darn it, everything you do, be aggressive with it.
Oh yeah, because like when you're aggressive, you're like very like God. I'm trying to think of the word. I can't think. You're very animated
Yeah.
to your scares, and then you also like you contain that animation. It's like you're a cartoon on the screen. You don't break the screen. You have the whole screen to work with.
Yeah. That's another good point is like when you're stretching, when you're warm up the stuff that you're gonna be using for your scares and then bring that same energy to your sets. Like I've seen so many people just like, yeah, I'm just gonna stretch real quick, yeah, whatever. But then they're out there going like, bleh, like really big stuff, really big movement, and they end up pulling something. It's because you didn't warm up that muscle and you pulled it. So keep in mind what kind of scares you do. Not overly stretched. That sounds really bad. Make sure to stretch those. Give those priority over stretching, and then if you have extra time, stretch other things around those muscle groups too, because you might just do a random scare. You might just have one of those guests where you're like, I'm gonna do something real special for you, huh?
And it's not something that you're gonna pick up on the very first day, because had I known that my neck and my shoulders and my gut would have been the focus of my pain from all the physical activity, I would have stretched those things from the very beginning, but I didn't, and it took time to remember, okay, so this is the part of your body that hurts after your shift, so stretch it out before, or get somebody to massage your neck or something, or if you're very close with your cast members.
Which you will. You're put through the same trauma. I'm sure you'll find someone that you like working with.
I loved working with everyone.
Oh, the Scareactors are seriously the best. I've had no bad moments with Scareactors from what I can remember. And it's so amazing. I don't want to like build it up and say like, you'll never find anyone you don't like working with scare acting. It's the best job ever. But like it really depends on where you work and who you're working with and what they're like, what you're like, and your mood and their mood and blah, 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 blah. But I really liked the people I worked with, and they were always super cool.
I love them.
So great. They were a family. Tramley for life.
Tramley for you, it's a stranger family for me.
Exactly, and you'll make families like wherever you scare for sure. Another thing I saw another scare actor use, I saw this also at Target. You could pick it up at Target, but it's one of those like hook massagers.
Oh,
where you could just like dig into one certain spot. And it wasn't like a vibrating one. It wasn't like a massage necessarily, but you can help dig in certain spots. So if you have a knot or something under your shoulder blade and you can't get it, like that really helps a lot. And she had like an actual medical issue with her back, so she was like required to have it on her to help her out. But I can see that being helpful. So if that interests anybody, that's a thing that exists and it could potentially help.
I sometimes would get knots in my shoulder blade, so I would bring a tennis ball to work and like lay on that or like rub it against the wall. Yeah. So that helped me too.
Yeah, just get something to help like work out those knots, because you're gonna get knots in your muscles for sure, especially doing the same motion over and over again. Sasu, thank you so much for subscribing with your Prime. Thank you for 2 months. Ooh, thank you. Sasu goes, heyo. Ooh, I've seen those, great for pressure points. Exactly. So if there's a certain point that you want to apply that pressure, those hook things, I hope I described that right, but
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, the creepy looking head massager feels really nice too on temples. That's good for like relaxing, but I'm talking more like if you have knots in your muscles that need to be worked out. Like if you just want to relax or something, absolutely. That little like claw head massager thing is so nice. But yeah. So we talked a lot about like pain and everything, but we got a few minutes left. If anyone has any scare acting questions, ask them now, because we're almost out of time. I will stay on playing a video game, I think, because it's just one of those nights for me. I'm like, I'm feeling good. I'm gonna play a game. So I'll still be live after I say goodbye to Joey and everything, but I'll be playing Death and Taxes. and continue. And then I can answer any questions too about scare acting. So it's scare actor time. Joey, do you have any stories you want to tell or advice you want to give? Putting you on the spot in the hot seat.
I think the best advice I can give for scare actors is, we've been talking about it all night, is, so I'll put it in another way. Maintain your energy, because for scare acting, it's a long night. It's not just, you get on and it starts. It's, you arrive at the spot, you get your costume, you put the makeup on, and then you have to wait until Halloween Horror Nights begins, and then you have to wait for everyone to line up. So there's a lot of patience there, and you have to be mentally and physically ready. I know that because it's a physical role, it takes a lot, but you also have to remember there are times people are going to walk by, and then people won't walk by. So then you have to maintain that character. So conserve the energy as much as you can, and then when it's time to release it, just release enough. Don't try to blow it all in one set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so pace yourself. That is a really good bit of advice. Absolutely. It's a marathon, not a sprint. That's what they always told us. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And give yourself the first couple weeks, see if it's for you, because a lot of people will go through those first 2 weeks and hit what I call the scare actor fatigue, which is you're working muscles you never worked before. You're going to get very incredibly sore. No matter how many years you've been doing this, I still get so sore those first couple weeks, because it really depends on the character, the costume you're wearing, where you're located, what kind of adjustments you need to make. Like you mentioned before, you don't know what muscle groups you're even using until after you've been scaring in that position a little while, and you kind of work the kinks out a little bit of your scare. So give yourself a first couple weeks or so to get over that initial really bad soreness. Your muscles will adjust. You'll learn to stretch those areas so they don't hurt as bad. But in those first couple weeks, a lot of people who've joined, just for funs, kicks and giggles, whatever, they'll realize it's not for them. It's like, this is too much hard work. I'm too sore. This hurts a lot. Goodbye. Or they really just don't like where they were cast, and instead of asking for a new part, they're just like, deuces. So we lose a lot of people those first couple weeks, and I'm sure other haunts do too. But if it's really not for you, fine. Don't do it. It's not for everybody. But if you want to give up just because you're super sore, give it that first 2-week hump. And then if it still isn't better, okay, maybe it's not for you. But, or you could ask for a less involved scare area, I guess, or character. Yeah, and just ask your supervisor. They want to work with you. They want to make sure that you don't get hurt or anything. But yeah, I would say give it that first 2 weeks for sure.
Also, another big thing to remember is, communicate not with just your cast members, but with your supervisors, and tell them, okay, so this is what's been happening on the set. This is what I've noticed from a lot of the people. And if you were a character like I was, where many people are playing the same role, just say, okay, so this is what you're doing, this is what I'm doing, we'll work out our schedule on who goes on first, who goes on last, and just go on and have some fun. If you notice anything, just for environmental purposes, if anything's out of place or there's a concern, just beware of that. Because I remember the final night, there was a bug that landed on me, and it was one of those earwig bugs that once they get in your ear, it's bad. So I told my bosses there was one of those bugs. They couldn't find it, but I told my other cast member, watch out for those bugs because they're there.
Good. Yes. Communicate with your fellow scarers and your supervisors. They want to work with you too. And and if you see things I had a mask on, I could not see at all, but my other fellow scarers who could see a little better would notice if someone dropped their beer on the ground and they wouldn't want me to slip on it. So they would warn me, hey, this area, watch yourself. And I was aware at that point. So yay, good job, teammates. So work with your team, communicate, pace yourself, give it the first couple weeks. That's been great. For the next couple minutes, Joey, what was your favorite part of scaring?
My favorite part of this being a scare actor was getting to know the cast that I've come to know and love.
Aw.
I still hold them in my heart. I miss them every day, and you know, we just grew together, and we knew that, you know, we got to make this the best haunt, and we got to have more people come. So that to me was, I'm a team player guy. I love having the chemistry with my team, and that to me was the best because it was my first time. So, you know.
Yeah, it's nice. It's really nice your first time. Every time after that, like, you get more and more comfortable with people, and then you make friends, and you get really excited when you see them and work with them. Like, I know people that I like worked with, but we were in the same maze the following year, but we still hung out backstage if we were in that area together. If not, then we would make time to see each other when we weren't scaring. But that's awesome. Are you thinking of scaring if Haunt happens this year?
I am thinking about it. Right now I've got some other things to be looking at, but as far as scare acting goes, I'm always willing to come back.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm still employed at Universal Studios, but I don't know, maybe something will come along, and if it doesn't, I'm always welcome to come back.
Yay! Thank you so much for joining me again today, Joey. I did interview Joey before, so if you're interested in seeing that, is on my YouTube channel. So feel free to watch that live stream from season 1. But Joey came back for season 2 because he's awesome like that, I guess.
Thank you. And make sure to check out Noelle's other interviews because...
Thank you. Check out Huddle Up on his YouTube channel.
Oh, darn it. My light just fell down.
And you predicted that. At least it was toward the end of the interview, so you don't have to worry about it so much. But yes, Joey has a YouTube channel. He did this show called Huddle Up where he and some of his family members discuss sports. So if you're interested in sports, feel free to check that out. I also have his Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok up on the blue icons that you see in the overlay on my Twitch channel here.
Noelle, thank you so much. This was awesome.
Yeah, and if you ever want me to read again, just hit me up. Like, it's all good. I am booked through... Yay! I'm so excited that you have fun here. And I hope that everyone watching also had fun. Once again, this is Joey, scare actor, awesome person. Follow him on the things that are linked here on my Twitch, like underneath him. That's where you can find him if you're interested in following him there. So, Joey, thank you so much. Everyone say bye to Joey.
Bye-bye, everyone. Hopefully we see you next time.
Yeah.